Okay, great. So today on Clutch AO, we have a former military person as well, I'm delighted to say, Andy Dowsett. Clearly not in the UK where it's cold and dark, but out in Melbourne where it's warm and sunny. Andy, welcome, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to be on. And as you say, it's lovely out here in Melbourne.
Um,
Scorching.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and also whether military training helped you in becoming a coach and training your juniors to rise to the occasion in pressure situations.
That's a good question. Right, well, let's start with obviously, my name's Andy Dowsett, and I am the founder of System 9 Tennis, which is a pathway from the age of 4 all the way up to 14, where we teach, what to teach, when to teach it, and if you really wanted to, how to teach it at the same time. Um, I was in the army for 9 years, where I played a little bit of army tennis, but in all honesty, I travelled the world. I got the bug, went to Belize, went to Cyprus, went to Kenya, went to Iraq, Northern Ireland, America. I didn't stop in my 9 years. I was hardly ever in England.
Well, well,
It's nice. I mean, I love to travel. And as you can see, now I'm over in Melbourne, sitting behind Court 15, where we've got some junior boys doubles playing.
and
I'm
what are
over
you
here
doing
with a
out
few of them.
there? You're not out there watching tennis, and you're not out there to get a suntan. So who are you with, and what are you doing?
Well, I am here watching tennis. I mean, I love watching the juniors. You've got all the big players like Sinner and you've got Alcaraz, but I'm here with the juniors, and I've got Ollie Beadle who works always playing in the PWII section. He's the world number 2 at the moment, so he'll be playing on Friday. He's got these matches Friday. We've been supporting Connor Brady from Kent. He was in the qualifying. He also was in the first round of the doubles over here. And a person you will know, I sat there supporting Cornelia Oosthausen
Very
in the wheelchair
good.
tennis. And I may have just been taken on to help her with a little bit of coaching, as I pointed a few things out in her match.
Okay, great. So look, really interesting for me because we know how we train um, competitive amateurs that are stuck, that have been playing for years and decades and never, rise to the occasion in clutch moments. And we know what the pros do. Is there any difference with juniors and wheelchair people on training people to nut out, close out clutch moments?
I mean, you've got to find those clutch moments. I mean, if you look at Iga, does she have many clutch moments in her matches? I wouldn't say so. Not the way she's going at the moment. But certainly we need to train it with our juniors. We can produce, and a lot of coaches do produce good hitters, but do we produce good players? Do we produce good players under pressure? And as we know, you're quite good at that yourself.
So it's very interesting because there is ball striking, there is playing tennis, which is two different things, and there is playing tennis when it's all on the line. In my view, that's a game within a game. That may not be
Yeah,
true, of course.
I think you've got the playing tennis in a tournament, and then you've got those moments in the match where you're playing tennis under pressure, which is your clutch moments, the times when a certain point could, dictate whether you've got to win that set or even win that match, or lose the set or lose the match. That's a big difference, and you've got to be out of form like the best players do in those moments.
Yeah, because I would argue that if you win, you just get entrance to a new level of possibly losing. So somewhere you're going to face those tight moments. And we know, from Federer and all sorts of other stats, Federer saying I've won 80% of the matches in my life, but 54% of the points. So just 4% of the points gave him all the adulation, the glory, the prize money, the endorsements, etc. 4%. So with that also, he lost 46% of all points. So that's what it all comes down to, that little pivot thing. You've got a few stories of people that you've trained or observed.
Yeah, I was round one of my friends, Lane's house, and Lane was top 30 in the world. And I just went round there for some pasta. Every time I went to Wimbledon, I went round her house, and she'd make me pasta, which is quite nice. But she used to house quite a lot of players where they'd stay, train, go to Wimbledon with her. And I just out the blue, she had to just say, "You can help her with this." I think it was Sponeraver, but don't quote me because it's such a long time ago, and I didn't pay much attention, to be honest. But she was there, and she goes, "Look, in closing out the match, she struggles." And I just have to say, well, when was the last time that happened? That it happened to be at Wimbledon the year before. She was serving for the match, and she lost that game. Went on to lose the set. Went on to lose the match. And I just said simply, well, and this is how I train my players. What would be she was serving, what would be your primary serve pattern under pressure? So it happened to be, it was 40-30, serving for the match. 40-30, what's your primary serve pattern? She goes, oh, out wide. I went, right. And what did you do again? Well, she knows I've done it wide, so I went down the tee. I went, right, and you lost the point. But under pressure, the pressure's more with your opponent. So why did you not serve out wide on your primary serve pattern, which is the pattern you're good at, you've done thousands of times, and you're relaxed with? And she went, I didn't really think about it. And I think under pressure, our juniors and our players have got to stick with their patterns that they're good at when you know that your opponent's under pressure.
Yes, but what we know about pressure is that it stimulates the 3-inch by 3-inch muscle between your ears. And one of the predictable things is, oh, I need to surprise them. So let me do what I've never done before, never trained before, because it will surprise them. So what you just said doesn't surprise me. How about primary returner serve patterns? Does that happen?
Yeah, you've got your favourite pattern. So what I teach my players certainly is with the juniors, when you've hit a decent serve out wide or a decent serve down the tee, where does your player generally return? And this could be at most levels. Where do they generally return? Which then you can pick. Well, they generally come here, so my next shot's going over there. And obviously, there's more into it than that. Are they a fast mover, slow mover? Do they move well backwards and forwards, side to side? There's a lot to go on top of that as well into the equation. But generally, I mean, I stick with the basics. If I'm under pressure and I'm on the juice side, my forehand's going to their forehand into the right-handed player. My backhand's going to their backhand. If they get tight, and we've seen it a lot with the juniors today, the player will serve and they will return to their feet and they get stuck. We've got to find out where the return is best to either get an unreturnable or a weaker shot coming back. What I don't want to do, I don't want my players to do is hit a return, and it's going to come back and put them under pressure.
Yeah, you mentioned doing so. One of the great military phrases is doing the basics meticulously. Even the fabled Special Forces, SAS, it's all about doing the basics meticulously. It's not about great talent. So you mentioned also then about getting the basics right.
Yeah, and I've been spending a lot of time with John Brady, and John Brady's got the two sons, Pat and Connor Brady, and Pat Brady's been over with Taylor Fritz over in America training. I think we've got another one joining us, but over with Taylor Fritz joining. He's been training for 2 weeks. He's been training with Alcaraz, his brother.
Wow.
He's been hitting with Holger Rune. He's been hitting with Tien.
Wow.
Sonego. He's one of the British juniors who doesn't quite fit into the system.
How can that be?
Are we back?
Andy, that's the first time that's ever happened to me. I have no idea what happened there.
No, hold on. Let me get you on my speaker.
I have no idea what happened there.
No,
I
neither
will
do
get
I.
it. I will get it stitched together.
Yes, let me just connect my headphones.
Wow. I was
I was in the middle of
nonplussed.
chatting then as well.
Yeah. No, so you were talking about young Brody and who he was
Yeah,
hitting with.
young Brady. Yeah, so he's been hitting with all the players that you see now, Tien and Sonego. He's been hitting with all of those. And the biggest thing that Holger Rune said was, I love hitting with him. And he's quite picky of who he hits with. I love hitting with him because he can hit through the ball. He hits a good ball and he doesn't mind pressure. And I think he's been trained to deal with pressure. And I have a certain way that I train pressure with my juniors, my players.
So, do you know how he loves pressure or plays well under pressure? Give us a,
Do you know what? The
because it's not
biggest
just
thing,
patterns, obviously, it's emotions, it's
yeah,
mental, it's all
and
sorts of things.
he's got his patterns. He knows what he does well. He knows his weaknesses and his strengths. But a lot of it is he's been brought up not to worry too much about winning. It's all about improving as a player. And this is something that Taylor Fritz's dad has really instilled into him. Improve as a player and the results will come. Don't worry so much about winning.
So again, there is a military tagline which says, do not be attached to the outcome, be committed to the process, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah. And certainly when I'm hitting with coaching, training my players, we'll do a lot of, let's just say, for instance, rallying crossball. And that's just hitting. There's no pressure under that. So we'll add a score system whereby I'm going to give you 5 minutes to get 5 points. Every time you make a mistake, you lose a point. So they'll rally with a partner or rally with them. They've got to get to 5 points. And it's not easy. And I don't care about the score. It's the hitting under pressure.
Yeah.
It's a totally different environment. Then add the serve and the return and still do it cross court. Different environment again. Put it into the match, different environment again. Put it into competition, different environment again. And then do it under
that's
score
one
pressure.
reason why you need to be playing, more matches, but also training. Because if you don't do the training and just go straight into matches, then, under pressure, arguably, it's a waste of time because you don't know what it is and you haven't been training in it prior to the match.
Yeah, and the key is having lots of practice. So, I mean, I was talking to John again only recently, and he said Pat Brady played Taylor Fritz in a practice set. They will play practice sets with anyone, and it got to a tiebreak. The guy's 18 years old, kind of under the LTA radar as such, and doing very well. But he's training in the right situations, in the right environments, in the environments where everyone will help each other out. Not, I want to beat you. And once I've beaten you, see you later. These players stay around and help you out, and help you train and help you practice.
Very good.
So the environment's important as well.
Brilliant. So we've had focus on the basics, do the basics meticulously. We've had be committed to the process, knuckle down into the present moment, because that's the only thing you can control. And anything in the future, even if it's 1 or 2 seconds in the future, is still the future. And the third thing you've talked about is the environment. Absolutely right. Again, going back to military and special forces, I would argue one of the reasons why barracks are so austere and not comfortable, because it tells the brain, oi, you haven't arrived yet, you've got lots of things to do. Where if it's all luxury, the brain goes, well done, son, you've arrived.
Yeah.
Is there one more thing for some of your juniors, intellectually challenged or ADHD or something? Would you train them in a different way, or does it kick things off?
See, I'm quite lucky with Ollie. So Ollie's autistic, but he doesn't understand pressure. He can get down on himself, and it can have a spiral of negativity, as we say in psychology book. But he doesn't understand pressure, so he will play match point same as he plays the first point, same as he plays set point. So in that respect, I'm quite lucky. Which is why he made the final last year.
Excellent. So the last bit of gold was, whilst we talk about pressure, there is no such thing as pressure because you can't feel it, touch it, taste it. It's only a construct of the brain. And the second thing you said really is there's no such thing as big points, clutch points. They're all the same.
He needs one day off. But I'm
Awesome.
pretty sure when we get clutch scenarios at the higher level game, they will have an injury timeout or a toilet break at the right time. So let, and I think this happened to Holgeruna. In his last match during a toilet break, he got stiff.
Yeah. Andy, look, we're going to bring this to a close, if for no other reason. I can't stand seeing the sunshine and the warmth and the sun on your skin. Although I
I'm
can
going to
see
go
you've
watch
got
some
some
more juniors.
mosquitoes around you.
Flies.
Is there anything that you'd like to share with the people about S9, apart from patterns and ball striking, and how that might help you close out big points in game sets or matches?
Well, do you know what I've got? And obviously, I've got a few books that I've written. One is the patterns of play. We've also got another one, which is a 12-week psychology program. And actually, I was going to give this to Cornell to have a little look because I think she needs a little bit of that at the same time. You can check that out on system-9.com.
Great. Andy, good luck with wheelchair, your juniors, and just generally enjoying watching the matches of the Australian Open. Are you due to get into the arena at any time or not?
Maybe later on tonight. But for now, I'm being called to go to another meeting.
Okay, great. Andy, great timing. Thank you for your time from Melbourne. Enjoy. A pleasure to be with you.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Cheers.